Hi, I'm Doug Ward from Tech Britain.
Robert Henning from Tag Games.
Robert, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for your time.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
Can we talk about your background to start with, please, Robert?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Tag Games are based in Dundee. I'm originally from Northern Ireland, so I came across to Dundee to go to Abertay University. They've got a computer games technology degree course, which had actually just started that year, so I was one of the first ones to come through that course. And that's how I got into the gaming industry here in Dundee. So 4 years at uni and then out into the big bad world.
Cool. We were speaking earlier off camera about the idea of how Tag Games came about. It's a cool story. Can we let the audience know about it, please?
Yeah, sure. So after I graduated from uni, I was obviously looking to get a job, which is much difficulter than you kind of originally think it's going to be. So I was working just at a call center, paying the bills, and I saw there was an opportunity in mobile where the barrier to entry was quite low. I was able to do the code part of it anyway. I did attempt the art part, and that didn't work out so well, but the game actually ran. So I decided to quit my job and start a company. So I started a little company of my own in my bedroom, and I decided to make a little game. So I developed a game, which I said didn't look very pretty, but it ran, it worked. And then I got in contact with who's currently our CEO now, Paul Farley, who's working at Digital Bridges, or also known as iPlay, who're just down in Dunfermline. I showed him my game and I guess he liked it a little bit. And him and another guy got three of us hooked up. So we design art and code we started out in a kitchen and then moved into someone's living room. And then we moved over into Dundee. So that's kind of the start of Tag Games. Took us about, I guess, 6 months to kind of get to a place where we actually incorporated a company, and then we decided to launch our first game, which was Dead Water. So again, we kind of insanely decided to self-publish that. So we had about 60 agreements with different carriers and territories. This was back in the day of J2ME, so we had to get onto Vodafones and the O2s and the Oranges of this world, and they don't want to talk to three guys in a kitchen, whereas there's like second-tier aggregators that would kind of get into these guys. Mm-hmm. So we had to do agreements with people from Europe, right through to China, right through to South America. I was sitting at one point porting the game to Chinese from screenshots that were coming through that evening, and then in the morning time I get a screenshot of, this is what it currently looks like in Chinese, so make it work now a little bit better. And I didn't even have a Chinese character set on my computer, so I was just kind of guessing. But we got that launched in China, we got it launched in Europe, we got it launched in South America. And then from there we kind of got a little bit of investment in another project. And then our first employee, which is tremendously scary, employing someone for the first time. It's like, wow, this is a guy, he's going to work for us now. It's like, we need to pay him wages. But yeah, so that's kind of how we started.
And in terms of, if anybody's not come across Tag yet, how would you describe the company as is today? Okay,
so we are, like I say, we started out in mobile. We're still very much focused on mobile. We do, obviously, smartphone technologies now, so we're much more a service-based company now. So we do free-to-play social games, mostly, but not exclusively. We have two real strands to our business. We've got our partnership strand, which we work with people like Namco Bandai and Ubisoft, and we work with EA and people like that. That's the partnership side of things. And then we've got original IP. So we published that under a brand called Tag Play. Our current one is called Fun Part Friends, or is relaunching very soon as Fun Part Friends Deluxe. So look out for that in the App Store. And that's obviously service-based free-to-play game. So in terms of where we started with three guys, now we've got about 30 people. And we have server-side engineers who do all of the back-end server stuff. All of the game content for Fun Park is all based in the cloud. So the device is very important that it runs very well on the device, but we don't really care what device you're playing on. So if it was an iPhone or an Android tablet or whatever, we want you to have the same game experience. So if you're playing on the bus on your iPod, and you level up, and then you come home from work or uni or wherever, and you get your Android tablet out, you'll have the same progress, or things will still have happened. You continue your game. So that's very much kind of focused on taking it in that direction. We've got guys doing metrics, we've got guys doing product evangelism, we've got obviously code and art and design and all the usual things you find at a games company. So,
And you were saying that you're one of the first companies in the UK that actually got a data analyzer for the gaming.
yeah. So we hired a guy called Chris. Been testing it maybe 9 months ago, I guess. I think there were a couple of companies that had a data analyst before, but we were certainly the first in Dundee, probably maybe in Scotland. I'm not going to go on the record with that, but I think so. And basically, Chris's job is basically to look at all of the metrics that comes back from our games and kind of make it make sense. Because you get an awful lot of data back. If we had more server space, we probably get like more data back in terms of what people are doing inside of our games and how they're kind of using the product, how they're kind of progressing with the product and engaging with it.
So the idea isn't just to squeeze it for advertisement. There's more kind of...
Yeah, obviously monetization is an important part because we give our game away for free. We need to kind of engage people and make sure that they do spend money inside that. But like we are a games company, so we want people to have fun, to enjoy what they're doing. So we don't want to just kind of squeeze money out of them for no point whatsoever. We need to make sure that the product is good, that they're kind of enjoying what they're doing, and they're getting some value out of that as well. So we use metrics to make sure that progression through the game is good in terms of there's no kind of barriers that people can't get past. If they like hit level 4 to level 5 is really difficult to kind of get past that bit. The metrics will tell us that quite quickly, and because everything's cloud-based and back-end, systems are all set up, we can tweak those values hourly if we want to, and then that gets downloaded to the device, and then people have an easier scope through that bit. If it's too easy, we can make it a little bit more difficult, because obviously there needs to be a little bit of challenge in there as well. We can use it for kind of loads of stuff like that. So it's important, and it actually also feeds back into game design as well. So we can, when you're making a game, you know what it is in your head, but until you actually have it there, it can kind of change. And it's quite a dynamic, iterative process kind of creating a game. So when we get user feedback back, and the way the situation is right now with like Android and iOS and stuff, feedback from users is really, really quick. We're much closer to our users now, which is a great thing. And people will feedback very quickly on what they think of your product. And we can react to that and then put that in the game very quickly as well. So metrics, user input, all that stuff kind of all comes together, hopefully to continue making a better product.
Awesome. So we're sat in your very cool offices. We've got some games console. Well, pretty much every games console there is sat behind us. In terms of Dundee as a tech community, especially as a gaming tech community, what would be your thoughts if someone's not come across Dundee yet, or maybe someone in Dundee's just starting to learn about the community? How would you best describe it?
It's very good. There's a very big gaming community here. Obviously, it started back famously with Dave Jones and DMA Design. I'm not going to even guess what year that was, 1990 something, which I guess is the reason why that university degree course started as well. Today, there are, I don't know, probably 20, 30 companies in Dundee, some which you may have heard of, some which you may not have heard of. I don't really want to mention Mr. Brian Baglow, but I have to. There's a guy called Brian Baglow. Google him or look him up on Twitter or Facebook. He's got a directory of all the Scottish games companies, not just in Dundee, but in Scotland. It's like 150 companies or something like that. There's loads and loads of people doing games in Scotland, and Dundee is a hub for that. I'd like people to come here and kind of visit. We're quite open for people to come down and take a look and see what's going on. But don't just focus on Dundee, but look at Scotland as well. There's a lot of things happening in Scotland. There's a lot of, I'm not going to brag too much, but smart people up here. We know what we're doing. We've done it for a long time. We know how to make games. We enjoy making games, which I think is also important. And there's definitely a lot of support around as well. And to an extent, anyway, government agencies kind of understand it because they've been around it for a little while, which is good.
I mean, it says a lot. You coming from Northern Ireland, speaking so highly of the tech community here, and just as we've been around the UK, Dundee was repeatedly mentioned as a great gaming community. If someone's watching this and they're in Dundee and they're thinking about starting on their first game, would you advise them that they should be staying here, or do you think they should be travelling like you did, or what advice would you give to that person?
Dundee is a great place to start up a games company. I did it. I travelled to go to university. I didn't travel to start a company, but I liked it here, so I stayed. it's obviously going to be a personal choice. If you kind of feel you need to get away from somewhere, maybe that makes you feel a bit more independent to kind of do that, then you could do that. But there's certainly a lot of support in Dundee. There's a good community in Dundee. You bump into games developers everywhere, really. And we are quite open to kind of chatting to people, especially if you're young and you want to start something new. I don't think there'd be a company in Dundee that wouldn't have time for you to just speak to you, even if it was for a half an hour informal chat, just to give you a little bit of advice or to help you out, point you kind of in the right direction. It just takes that little bit of initiative on your part to just take the jump. The thought of taking the jump is scarier than actually taking the jump. So if you don't do it, you maybe regret that for the rest of your life. So you may as well have a punt, give it a run.
So on that note, if anyone wants to get in touch, how best to get in touch, Robert?
Look at our website, tag-games.com. We're on Twitter @taggames. We've got a Facebook page which you can get in touch with as well. Email address is info@tag-games.com. All those ways are available to you. Or just come down and you could give us a buzz at the front door and we might let you in if we're not busy, or arrange something with you. So if you know where we are, you come and get in touch.
I apologise if you get swamped because of this, but real pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.